Hello, good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. The news is live on Joy99.7 FM here in Accra and Kumasi. We are on Love 99.5 FM and over 30 affiliates across Ghana's 16 regions. We are live on Bishara Radio in Tamale, Ganga FM in Jirapa, Menuveve FM in Apawu, Jata FM in Karaga. We are also on Kaliao FM in Akachi. We are live on Facebook, also on my Joy9.7FM app, as well as your Spotify app. In this afternoon's edition, Gagbene community in the West Mamprusi municipality of the Northeast region battered by days of heavy rains, leaving scores of residents displaced.
So the water come, they couldn't pass the bridge. So I beg them to come and do that.
It's the second of such devastation in 1 year. We are live in the community. Also this afternoon, Accra Zoo closed to the public as investigations into circumstances which led a lion to allegedly attack and kill a middle-aged man gets underway.
Someone has entered the enclosure, male, and then he was being held by the neck by one of the lions.
We hear from the Ghana Wildlife Society, which is asking management of the zoo to tighten security there. Historian at Mainshia Palace accuses Akwesia Deo Dike of staging attack on himself as his condemnation of illegal mining activities continues to generate controversy in the Ashanti region.
They advised them. Maybe the language used in advising them was misconstrued. I strongly believe that Odike staged a drama. So he is the first suspect.
We're live at Mainshia as managers of Wairapa FM, the station which was shut down in the ensuing conflict, hold crunch talks, hoping to get green light to resume broadcast. Also this afternoon, former President John Mahama claims the country's security is under threat due to eroding trust in the judiciary.
It is scary because it threatens the peace and stability of our democracy.
If you appear before certain judges, they prejudge your case because you are not with a certain group.
Also in sports.
Well, Ghana risks losing 2023 African Games hosting right following delays in putting up infrastructure for the event.
And much later, government vows to clamp down on illegal fishing activities threatening survival of the nation's fish stock, and big sales and big discounts at the 5-day EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair. Details as head of Advantage Banking at EcoBank says as the cost of building materials continue to increase, we'll hear whether we need a mortgage or funding for your own housing project.
Imagine if you had the opportunity to take a mortgage of, say, $100,000 last year and you deferred it till now. You are paying close to about 40% or more of what you could have paid last year.
I give you all the show down there on the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair, which ended last night. That and more here on the Midday News with me, Emefa Apawu. Please stay for details. Many thanks for choosing us. We are your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. Let's start off from the Northeast region this afternoon, where scores of residents of Gagbene, a community in the West Mamprusi municipality of the region, have been displaced after days of heavy rains in the community. In October last year, the community was again submerged in flood waters, prompting a Joy News campaign dubbed #UpToUs to raise relief items for victims there. I'll take you live there now and speak to our Northeast region correspondent, Ilyasu Tanko, who visited the community. Ilyasu, paint a picture of the way the community is as we speak now.
Well, because of intense efforts of the National Disaster Management and the local authorities in the West Mamprusi municipality, the water has receded currently, but many of the victims that were displaced are still not been able to get a place to seek shelter. Apparently, their family and relatives are also affected by the situation. Yesterday, they were left stranded for several hours on the road before they managed to convey some of their belongings to a nearby church, and also some of their relatives received some of these belongings, and they had to travel to some nearby villages to sleep with relatives and friends. And the road that was cut yesterday as a result of the heavy flooding has also been repaired, and traffic has started flowing on that particular busy street. But as I speak to you now, currently, most of the victims are still homeless.
The water don't do that. But this time, come and do the road. They come and make the road go to top. They raise the road. They raise the road. The road is big. So the water they couldn't pass the bridge. So I beg them to come and do that. Culvert for me from the community.
Last year, in Susa Baha, Ababa said Hapoto, Anope 6 going to 7. Yet one in Suna Bay, ye dimo, yesterday, and young Coto Dug from Onchen Emla Mary and Ble. Yato Anope, Missole is a cabin, and Suna Bay and a better fire, your bank couldn't dance in Yina, Equa Yato, ye near Gianna, come that day, ye near Diana, Bedi, no Suasa.
And soon time they buy say never be free. And almost on baby bridge no Oman Bay, Omabeka Sa, my Yavuta, Oman Bay bridge now, man.
Well, but Elias, so just before I let you off, you were telling me earlier about officials of NADMO and the intervention so far. Let's talk a bit more about it.
Yes, they were in the community, the regional minister, the MP for the area, and the managers of the National Disaster Management Organization. They have made an assessment in that particular community. Remember, this is the second time that this is happening in that particular community. So what the assurance that has been given by the local authorities is that they will continue with the construction of drains and gutters in that particular community to ensure easy flow anytime the rain comes.
That's my colleague Ilyasu Tanko there reporting from the northeast region, the Gagbini community. From there, let's head south to Accra, the capital. We are heading to Achimota. And this afternoon, the Accra Zoo has been closed to the public as investigations into circumstances which led a lion to allegedly attack and kill a middle-aged man gets underway. The deceased, identified only as a middle-aged man, is alleged to have scaled a 20-foot fence and then another 20-foot fence to access the place. We'll take you live there shortly, but first, Michael Ashali has been there. Here's his report.
The lifeless body of a man believed to be middle-aged at the back of an ambulance at the Achimota Zoo. He was discovered by guards at the zoo with his throat in the jaws of a lion. He is believed to have jumped over 2 fences, a 10-foot and 20-foot tall fences, to reach the lion's den. CEO of the Forestry Commission, John Alote, explained.
One of our assistant managers on this normal tour of the zoo around the enclosure where we have the lions noticed that someone has entered the enclosure, male, and then he was being held by the neck by one of the lions, the male lion. He quickly informed his superiors, and the case was reported to the Achimota police.
The zoo houses 2 lions, a male and a female, with 2 cubs that are less than a year old. Although the intention of the intruder is not yet known, it is believed he was there to steal one of the cubs. Here is Deputy Lands Minister Benito Owusubio.
If you look up here, you see that that place had been tampered with. That's where the person scaled and went in. The advice is that these lions are in their cages. They are in their fence. They are just resting. Why would somebody come and try to enter, scale the fence and go inside to do what? If you are going for the cubs, the lioness and the male will protect their cubs. So please, there is a warning to people who have other intentions and ulterior motives.
The police was at the scene to ensure calm had been restored. The body has since been deposited at the morgue. For Joy News, Michael Ashali.
Michael Ashali filed that report earlier yesterday when the incident occurred. He's back there today, joins us live. Michael, what are the fresh details you're picking up?
So what we are hearing is that the zoo that was open to the public is now off limits. Anybody who would want access into just the zoo of the Achimota Forest will not be allowed entry. So the main gate that leads to the zoo has all been closed. Now, they are concerned about whether that also affects the forest in its entirety. That's a no. Those who wanted access to go and pray, especially in the other parts of the forest that is not a zoo, were allowed entry to go and do that. But I've also been talking to them, and what they tell us is that well, they have heard the news so bizarre. They would want that whatever diseases are taken, access to the forest is not restricted because they enjoy praying there a lot.
Well, and we know that investigations have begun. Have we picked up anything in terms of preliminary findings?
Well, so the police at the Achimota police station have refused to talk to us. They've rather directed us to the regional police and national. But regional also tells us that we'll have to go to national. So national is here to release any information to the identity of the person which is into question, and also whether they've got preliminary investigations have also reviewed.
That's my colleague Michael Ashali there. We can hear from David Pele. He's Executive Director of the Ghana Wildlife Society and is calling for tighter security at the zoo.
Just a single one-off incident that we don't think that should let people think that the place is insecure. No. Obviously, the use of technology will improve the situation. CCTV definitely is something that we welcome if we have the funds. Also, increasing the number of staff patrolling the area will also be something that we can consider. So yes, all those are measures that we need to enhance the security.
Nasa David Pele, Executive Director, Ghana Wildlife Society. From the Accra Zoo, let's head to the Ashanti region. We're going straight to the Menchia Palace, where a cultural historian there, Osebon Susafo Kantanka, has accused politician Akwesi Adeodike of staging an attack on himself. A property belonging to Mr. Adeodike was vandalized by armed men days after he criticized chiefs in the Ashanti region for permitting illegal mining to thrive. The station on which he spoke, Emefa FM, has since been shut down after first round of talks with the traditional authorities at the Menchia Palace. Ms. Odike was earlier asked whether he will apologize. Listen to what he had to say.
People who are after my life, how can I apologize to them? They want to kill me, so why do I go before my knees and beg them?
That's Akwesi Adeodike there. We can listen to a cultural historian now at the Menchia Palace, Osebon Susafo Kantanka, alleging that the politician staged that attack on himself.
I strongly believe that Odike staged a drama. So he is the first suspect.
Please clarify. Are you saying he staged the attack?
Sure, I'm confident. Until it has been proven that he did not stage a drama, it is a drama.
You see the footage there of his party office vandalized, bullets going through cars, and you say you think it was staged?
Yes, I think so. I think it was staged, and Odike could easily do that. When somebody reports a case, you do not take it just because he has reported. He himself is a suspect.
Well, Mr. Susafo Kantanka insists the Traditional Council did no wrong in advising the radio station to halt operations while its managers seek forgiveness for the comments on their platform.
They directed them to go by the normal process. And over and above that, advised to close down to shut down the station, to convince them that indeed, if you have been able to shut down your station for a few days, and it is well expressed in the statement the chiefs made, for a few days, until we have finished deliberating upon the issue. They did not say they have closed it down. The power of closing it down, the chiefs are very much aware that they don't have the power to close down any media station.
You heard there Osebon Susafo Kantanka, a cultural historian at the Menchia Palace. Well, let's head to the Menchia Palace now. Nana Yaojima joins us there live. We know that Emefa FM is off air today, and managers of the station are also billed to hold a crunch meeting with officials at the palace. Nana, tell us if that meeting has started and what do we know so far?
So about 30 minutes ago, the meeting started, and it started with management of Emefa FM making an appearance at the Menchia Palace with some prominent leadership of the Methodist Church, including Most Reverend Emmanuel Asante, who is the former, who used to head the Peace Council. Now, before he spoke, they had a representative of Askorima Mpohene who introduced the members of the group that made the appearance to the traditional authority, and also started by pleading on their behalf. Now, the former head of the Peace Council continued to plead on behalf of Emefa FM, claiming that whatever Mr. Akwesiade said, they are complicit, and therefore they would plead with the traditional authority to forgive the radio station. Now is the turn of some divisional chiefs who are part of the Kumasi Traditional Council, and all the chiefs are also pleading on the behalf of management of the radio station. According to the divisional chief, for the management to go and shut the radio station in compliance with the command that the traditional authority gave, should tell them that they've really showed remorse, and there's the need for the Kumasi Traditional Council to forgive them and make them go back operate their business.
Well, but does it look like this plea will be heard by the Menchia Palace from what you've heard so far?
From the nature that we have other divisional chiefs who are part of the decision-making body of the Kumasi Traditional Council also joining the plea, it looks like the chiefs will forgive them and make them go back and operate Emefa FM.
That's my colleague Nanaya Hojima reporting live from the Menchia Palace. So we'll hear from the National Media Commission shortly on this, but we can hear from a governance advisor, Professor Apawu Agyemang, who wants the matter investigated thoroughly.
I cannot imagine Odike organizing guns and others to come and attack his office. I don't accept it. I think we need to have better investigation in the matter. And I do agree with Audrey that we got to be careful and have to determine the limits of powers of chiefs and all. But you see, in view of the situation in Menchia, if you are advised to close your shop for a day or two before the final solution is reached, you better take the advice seriously.
You heard the governance advisor, Professor Apawu Agyemang, reacting to cultural historian at the Menchia Palace earlier, who alleges that Osei Edike, Akwesiade Odike, staged that attack on himself. But we can hear from the National Media Commission now, and they say there's a growing trend of non-state actors attempting to use their own means to deal with media infractions contrary to law. George Sapong is Executive Secretary of the NMC.
Chiefs are using their traditional authority to address what they consider as media infractions. We have seen religious leaders do the same. Essentially, what this tells you is that there's a certain privatized approach to addressing what people consider as media infractions. What is needed to address this is effective regulatory system that protects everybody and also creates a space for the media to flourish. Immediately the story broke, we've been in contact with Menchia Palace, the Kumasi Traditional Council. We are in touch with the radio station. We are, as far as we are concerned, we've made considerable progress in addressing this matter.
That's the Executive Secretary of the National Media Commission, George Sapong. I'll stay a while longer in the Ashanti region. Let's head to the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology campus, where the Students' Parliament House is unhappy with the University Council's decision to abolish the Junior Common Room system of hall management. The resolution of the council has also included the indefinite suspension of SRC and Hall Week celebrations. Now, this follows the violent clash between some members of the university and Unity Halls, which resulted in destruction of property and injuries. According to Speaker of the KNUST Students' Parliament, Suleimana Shamuna, the decision to mitigate student clashes on campus is unfair and will not resolve clashes.
The university should channel resources into making sure that the rivalry between these halls become a lively one. Sports organization, fruitful debate, and the likes. The university can do this. And we, the students, will take charge and make sure that when they recognize this council, we will draft and check the enforcement of disciplinary undertakings, provisions, and regulative instruments to make sure that these particular things are well regulated and to promote the peaceful coexistence of the university.
Well, amongst the students, there's a mixed reaction to this outright ban.
The release is very harsh, and that's not the solution to the problem. They are rather taking advantage of this issue to finally remove students from the negotiation table. So, in the long run, it will be like an autocratic system.
It is going to calm down the students because recently what we have been experiencing is so bad. Some of them throwing stones against each other, causing injuries to each other. It's so much. So if they bring this decision, it is going to help calm this intense.
It's not really fair because the other halls don't do morale and those procession and other things. So then if they are to ban the rest of the whole activities, it won't be fair.
Some students at the KNUST. Meanwhile, the University Relations Officer, Dr. Daniel Norris Bequing, is meanwhile urging the students to accept the decision by the University Council.
We are all tired. We need to stop this once and for all. And let's all focus on the more important issues for which reason the university exists. We want to plead with the students. We want to plead with anybody who has a contrary view to accept this and allow this measure, which has been outlined by the University Council, to stay. Let's all have peace. I don't think we are taking away socialization from students. They have other forms of socialization.
His plea is supported by security analyst Dr. Adam Bona, who notes unless such strict decision is made, the universities will not be habitable for students. You're still listening to the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. We are live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, Bishara Radio in Tamaliga, and Gai FM in Jirapa. We've been to the northeast region where Gagbini community in the West Mamprisi municipality of the region has been battered by days of heavy rains, leaving scores of residents displaced. Off to the Accra Zoo also has been close to the public as investigations into circumstances which led a lion to allegedly attack and kill a middle-aged man gets underway. When we return, we have sports, and then former President John Mahama claims the country's security is under threat due to eroding trust in the judiciary.
It is scary because it threatens the peace and stability of our democracy.
If you appear before certain judges, they prejudge your case because you are not with a certain group.
And big sales and big discounts at the 5-day EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair. We have details.
Imagine if you had the opportunity to take a mortgage of, say, $100,000 last year and you deferred it till now. You are paying close to about 40% or more of what you could have paid last year.
It's time for sports, and Musbao is back. What do we have?
Well, we have quite a lot. There are legitimate concerns that Ghana could lose hosting right for the 2023 Africa Games as a local organizing committee and sports ministry face a race against time to prepare facilities. Ghana is scheduled to host the rest of Africa in 23 disciplines, I guess next year, a time which clashes with the scheduled dates for next year's World Athletic Championships, leaving the availability of Ghana's top athletes in doubt. Worse still, facilities for the Games are still far from completion due to unavailable funds, and the chairman of the local organizing committee, Dr. Ofosu Asare, is unsure when the funds will arrive.
About the 750 million Exim Bank loan that the government managed to secure, the parliament approved, and out of that we are to have 140 million going towards infrastructure. And let me also say that that's for infrastructure. We haven't even looked at operational costs, procurement, and what have you. So a lot of money is involved if you are hosting the games, and you must be prepared to put in money. You know, if you have money and you are building, you can even build during the day, build in the middle, have two shifts, have workers coming in and all that. And you can beef up your staff and get the work done as quickly as possible. Yeah. So, in my view, if we don't get the money on time, or if we delay in giving them the money, then it means we cannot meet the timelines. And if we can't meet the timelines, then it's going to affect the time schedule for the games.
So, for that, the chairman of the local organizing committee there, Dr. Ofosu Asare, who's raising concerns about the games and Ghana might just lose it. Now, the full report will air on Joy News at 2 p.m. and 8:15 p.m. and also air on Joy Prime or at 4 p.m. So, that's it for sports.
Thank you very much, Musbao. We can't wait for that. Now, former President John Mahama says the lack of trust and confidence in the judiciary is compromising law and order in the country. Such a development, he warns, could bring about chaos and violence if not immediately addressed. Speaking to lawyers belonging to the NDC fraternity, the former president urged the judiciary to purge itself of bias, warning the threat is real.
One of the scariest existential threats to any democracy is when citizens think their judiciary holds no value for them or no use to them. And this is the security threat that the national security apparatus tried to draw the attention of the nation to recently, but was poorly received by the president and his party. It is scary because it threatens the peace and stability of our democracy, and we must quickly correct this fast-spreading notion. If care is not taken, we'll get to a stage where people will have no qualms about taking the law into their own hands because they do not have the confidence that they can get any justice from the system. There is therefore the urgent need for the Ghanaian judiciary to work to win the trust and confidence of the citizenry and erase the widely held perception of hostility and political bias in legal proceedings at the highest courts of the land.
Former President John Mahama, well, the General Secretary of the NDC, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, expressed concern about the ill treatment given to lawyers who are perceived to be members of the NDC. According to him, certain state institutions deliberately blacklist NDC lawyers, while some judges also prejudge cases involving NDC attorneys.
Once you are identified with NDC, you are denied any opportunity to participate in state business. No state organization will feel comfortable assigning you legal business to do. And so that also represents a cost. We are aware of the intimidation you suffer in your profession, the leaders of your profession and the judiciary. I'm told that if you appear before certain judges, they prejudge your case because you are not with a certain group.
On the impasse of a prepaid installation for residents in the Somanya enclave in the eastern region, the NDC is convinced the use of the military, which has resulted in some attacks on constituents, is an abuse of rights of the citizens. We can hear from National Chairman of the party, Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo.
The recent one is what happened in the Manya Krobo and Yellow Krobo constituencies, where they have been overbilled by the electricity company of Ghana. And they have decided that they cannot pay those bills because they don't have the capacity to pay the bills. ECG has admitted that their systems had challenges, and so that overbilling is being resolved. In the wake of that, they decided to install prepaid meters without engagement of the various social partners and stakeholders.
That's the National Chairman of the NDC, Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo. Now, the Fisheries Ministry says nothing will stop it from strictly enforcing the fisheries laws to deal with illegalities in the fisheries sector. Ghana imports $200 million worth of fish to shore up its fish needs due to illegal, unregulated and unreported fishing practices. The country was shown a yellow card by the European Union a couple of years ago due to the illegal fishing practices by both artisanal and industrial trawlers. In our latest hotline documentary titled When the Last Fish is Caught, Fisheries Minister Mavis Hawakumsin reviews how she's injecting sanity into the fishing industries. Here are excerpts of the documentary.
The ocean has been in crisis in recent times. Overfishing and illegal fishing are said to be fueling the collapse of the marine ecosystems in Ghana. According to the UN Food and Agriculture Organization, over 90% of global fish populations are fished at or beyond sustainable levels. Following Joy99.7's documentary titled Cycle, When the Last Fish is Caught, the Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture Development, headed by Mavis Hawakumsin, announced a ban on the activities of Cycle.
I had to move from Ghana to EU with the president to go and talk to them. As we sit today, I have not had any complaint, not even from the artisanal people that there has been any transshipment, because I made it known to them that if we see or if you are caught doing transshipment, your vessel will leave the sea immediately.
When the Last Fish is Caught is our latest hotline documentary put together by Richard Kojunyako. It airs tonight on the Joy News channel at 8:30 p.m. You don't want to miss it. Now, it was 5 days of big sales and big discounts for our patrons and exhibitors at the 2022 EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair, which left many calling for an extension. And there was a seminar last night to climax the event. Maxwell Abogba has more from the Accra International Conference Center.
The EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair truly lived up to expectation as a one-stop shop for everything housing.
Very excited. Burning fuel that is difficult to get these days. Then it's better you come here and...
It's good. I mean, you can't go wrong with multimedia organizing. The Habitat Fair has been good.
The testimonies from our exhibitors are unending.
And some call from Takrady, so they want new Muffins to come to Takrady. Some call from Yeji. So out of the interview granted, we are getting the calls.
The EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair is not just an assembly of leading players in the housing industry. It has also become a big learning platform for university students.
The fair is basically about what we do in the classroom. But in the class, we do only theory things. So we brought them here to look at what practically goes on.
And that's how we end today's edition of the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. Living Word with Pastor Mensa Tobe is up next. I am Emefa Apawu. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Isn't life wonderful when everything worth doing is scheduled? Hitting the stop button on your alarm just in time for your morning jog. That's happy moments. Listen